trade to 76626 now and get access to the top trades our AI finds every single day. Text trade to 76626. Standard text and data rates may apply. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Text trade to 76626.
Hey, welcome in. Here we go with the Tuesday edition of the Bruce Hooley Show. Well, the Hunter Biden jury is deliberating. I don't know what's taking them so long when you have the guy in his own book admitting to the crime that he's accused of committing, but they're trying to find a way to not find him guilty. I am quite sure of that. Justice is upside down. We will certainly delve into those topics today and take you through the latest polling on the presidential election upcoming of Donald Trump, and can't really say I'm sure it'll be Joe Biden. I cannot really say I'm sure it'll be Joe Biden. I mean, I've always thought all along the way that there was a possibility that it wouldn't be Joe Biden. Did you hear Biden yesterday at the White House in his Juneteenth speech? Or more importantly, did you see him at the White House celebration of Juneteenth, where he's surrounded by the brother of George Floyd, of course, because we can't celebrate anything that would involve African Americans. Juneteenth, of course, does involve African Americans. We can't celebrate that without reminding everyone that George Floyd was killed by police, and the riots that ensued were mostly peaceful, and on and on and on and on and on. I mean, I'd be curious sometime to know if black people ever realize how much they're being used by the Biden administration, how much they're being, and when you're being used by someone as a political pawn to score points for them, and Biden was race baiting in his speech yesterday. Do you ever come to the realization you're being used? Like, I don't think anybody really likes being used, but the black voting bloc out there is definitely being used by Joe Biden. But if you saw the video, Biden is frozen while people around him are dancing. I posted it on my Twitter feed at @bhools. I'm laughing at the absurdity of this, because when you watch it, and I'm as big a critic of Joe Biden's policies as anybody, it's sad to watch what they're doing to this guy. It really is sad to watch. I mean, it is like everybody around him is in on a joke at his expense, and he doesn't know it. And there's this creepy moment where Kamala Harris is standing next to him, and she's dancing, and she's trying to look like anything other than the incompetent intersectionality hire that she is. And she shoots this glance over at Biden, looks up at him like, would you just hurry up and die so I can take over? Like, that's the look in her eye. I shouldn't be surprised she's evil, because the entire administration is evil. I've said before, who are the Christians around Joe Biden? None. There's none. Zero. Zip. So let's bring it back home, closer to home. Started talking about justice being upside down. We have a name on the second victim of the Crum Park shooting, the shooting where they were having a vigil for the murdered 18-year-old girl. And this young man was 18 himself. Jaquan Kimbrough, 18, is the second victim. The other victim, Lonnie Johnson, 29. So 50 people in the park, 2 shot dead. Still don't have any shooters. Very, very sad. Monday night, Columbus police shot and killed a knife-wielding person who got out at a couple different intersections, got back in his car, fled from police multiple times, and eventually he charged at officers, and they tried stun guns, they tried talking to him in English, they tried talking to him in Spanish, and eventually there was no recourse other than to discharge their weapons, shot him and killed him. So it's June the 11th. How long will it take for a grand jury to exonerate these officers? Well, we had just officers the other day from a thing on the south side where a guy carjacked somebody, sat in his car, got out of his car, fired at officers, hit officers. They returned fire, killing him, clearly justified. And they just now, like 9 months later, maybe more than 9 months later, were finally exonerated. Fox News, by the way, reporting we do have a verdict in the Hunter Biden gun trial. I will bring it to you as soon as we know what it is. But those officers in the South Side situation were just cleared. And last night, similarly, obviously justified shooting. Who knows? Who knows how long? But kudos to Columbus police for disarming a dangerous person with a knife. Because in Cleveland yesterday, in suburban Cleveland, Rocky River Municipal Court, the black woman who murdered the 3-year-old white child a week ago yesterday, Bianca Ellis, was in court. She was in court for her arraignment. She was smirking. She was smiling. She clearly did not take the entire proceeding seriously, even in light of the fact that the 3-year-old boy's father, Jared Wood, came into court and addressed the court. That was hard to watch because Jared Wood and his wife was also stabbed in this attack. Mr. Wood was clearly distraught and asked the judge to, let me get the exact phrasing, something about keep this there's nothing you could do to ever replace my son or anything my wife and I or our other kids are going through. It's horrendous, is how he began his comments. And then he said, just do whatever you can to keep this monster behind bars. Do whatever you can to keep this monster behind bars. Here is the audio from Mr. Wood's appearance in court with the judge greeting him as he approached.
Good morning, sir. Could you start with your name?
My name is Jared Wood, father of deceased, husband of Margot. Your Honor, that day, 1 week ago, she took everything from us. There's nothing that could ever replace my son or anything that my wife and I, or even our other kids, are going through. It's horrendous. I really wish no bail, period, or extend it to the max limit possible that you can, at the very least. Just do whatever you can to keep this monster behind bars.
Thank you, sir. Is there anything else you would like to say?
That'll be it. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
So Mr. Wood and his wife have 2 children now. They had 3. Their little boy, Jared, they called him Juju, adorable, sitting in a shopping cart. And we have extensive store security video now of Bianca Ellis. She stole 2 knives from a thrift store next to the Giant Eagle in North Olmsted. She is shown on video outside the store with the knives, like stabbing them into like a concrete pillar. She walks down the street. She walks into the Giant Eagle. She walks past multiple people flashing the knife as people go through the store. She then walks to the front of the store, bypasses several other people. Then as soon as the mom and little Juju Wood in the shopping cart caddy pass her, she immediately spins 180 degrees, walks behind them to the parking lot, and attacks the child first. Attacks the child first. The mom intervenes. That's when the mom is stabbed. And I'll say what I said at the time. This is still not being considered for prosecution as a hate crime. Not being considered for prosecution as a hate crime. North Olmsted police say there's no apparent motive. There's no apparent motive. No motive at all. The Cuyahoga County prosecutor, who is an empty partisan hack, issued a statement. This case is truly devastating. I want to express my heartfelt condolences to the Wood family during this difficult time. As a father, I could not begin to imagine this grief, but I can promise that we will, here comes the empty promise, do everything in our power to bring justice for Julian Wood and the Wood family. Everything in your power. I'm going to bet the penalties for murder with hate crime as a motive are pretty stiff. And I'm going to guess that if you prosecuted this as a hate crime, anyone else who would be contemplating, white or black or Hispanic or any other origin, if you prosecute what is clearly worthy of being looked upon as a hate crime, if you would do that, you might diminish the possibility that something like this could happen again. And then you wouldn't be mystified about what the motive is that ended the life of an angelic 3-year-old boy out on a shopping trip with his mom. His brother, sister, father, who knows, dad was probably at work. The other two, maybe they were home, maybe they had a play date. This is egregious, what is being allowed to happen in North Olmsted, Ohio. All allowed by the authorities in charge.
And the high today at 76, mainly clear skies for tonight, low 55. Sunshine, a very comfortable day tomorrow. High tomorrow at 82. And then we get a bit warmer Thursday, partly sunny, high at 89.
I just can't fathom
around on Friday morning
how this is not looked at as a hate crime. I just can't even fathom. If you look at it and say, okay, it's not a hate crime, the woman's crazy, whatever. I get it. How do you not even look at it as a possible hate crime? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous and indefensible. You should be utterly ashamed of yourself if you work in North Olmsted Police or if you work in the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office. You should have trouble sleeping at night. You should see Julian Wood's picture when you shut your eyes. You should, the face of that young boy, murdered for no reason at all. You have no soul if it doesn't drive you to find out what caused this.
ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with refined skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to your job. 4 out of 5 employers who come from ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Want service that's in tune with your needs? It's time to get the kitchen of your dreams. Update, upgrade, uplift with Kitchen Tune-Up. A new modern door style? Maybe you just want to start from scratch and redo everything. Kitchen Tune-Up will make the process enjoyable and hassle-free. Stop in. Let's make a plan. We'll bring your vision to life. 0% financing is available right off Wilson Bridge Road in Worthington. Go to kitchentune-up.com for a free in-home estimate. Update, upgrade, uplift with Kitchen Tune-Up.
The words you are about to hear are taken from letters sent in by members of the Trinity Debt Management Program.
Dear Trinity, today I'm making my final credit card payment.
Before I came to you, I was in a constant state of anxiety and panic, but now there is hope for my family's financial future.
Working with Trinity made me understand that I'm not alone.
You really do help people.
Your kindness will never be forgotten.
Without Trinity's support, I would not have achieved my lifelong goal of becoming debt-free.
We saved a lot on interest and penalties, of course, but the reward was the gift of human kindness.
Trinity has carried me through a very difficult time in my life. You're amazing.
I used to feel so anxious and hopeless. Now I feel grace and peace.
God bless Trinity as you continue to help others become debt-free.
At the time of buying or in following the rule of law.
Andrew, do they appeal
in the rule of law by saying I'm not going to
6976.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel, home to the biggest shows on TV, like Hugh Hewitt weekdays at 6 a.m. Eastern, followed by Mike Gallagher at 9. Join SNC where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free, now on Zumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Zumo.
We're more connected than ever before. 90% of America's students use some form of social media, but not all of it's used in a good way. Firstly, posts online are leading to social isolation for many. Psychologists say it's bullying in a brand new way. Well, beyond differences in I Keep Safe, we're looking to change that with ideas for students, their parents, and even teachers. Take the pledge to be kind online and learn more at wearekindonline.com.
Science is amazing, not when practiced by Anthony Fauci and all the other people who let us down during COVID, but when it is practiced by people who genuinely care about you, and like the people at QC Kinetics. Yes, I'm talking about the people who are specialists in advanced regenerative medicine. They have clinics in Dublin and Gahanna, and you, if you have arthritis pain, if you've been told, oh, you're bone on bone, there's nothing we can do about you, schedule your surgery, or here's a prescription, get that filled and don't stop taking it. Well, if you've been told any of that, you should at least avail yourself of the possibility that you could get out of pain by allowing your own body's natural healing agents to do what they're designed to do in your body. Now, they might need a little assistance. That's where the people from QC Kinetics come in. They take your blood out, they separate the platelets, they re-inject it in strategically to accomplish certain healing things at certain junctures, and the relief is amazing. So why not avail yourself of this option by calling QC Kinetics and set up your appointment today at 380-208-4544, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. Well, I apparently overestimated the Democrats and their use of lawfare, because I thought for sure there'd be a way they'd get somebody on that jury to refuse to convict Hunter Biden. But instead, the president's derelict, 50-plus-year-old, crack-addicted, sex-addicted son has been found guilty on all charges. Count one, making a false statement on an alcohol, tobacco, and firearms form, and intended, I don't want to play this out, I just want to advance it so I can read what is on my screen, to deceive the gun dealer. They had the gun dealer testify in the court, and he said, yeah, that was Hunter Biden. He filled it out. He knew what he was doing when he filled it out. Count two, Hunter Biden guilty, making false statements on an ATF form that would be kept in the gun dealer's records. And count three, possession of a gun by a prohibited person. So he's guilty on all counts. He could face jail time. He likely will be fined. But of course, he has plenty of money to pay the fine because he's gone around the globe while addicted to crack on Air Force Two with his then vice president father, collecting millions of dollars from foreign adversaries of the United States of America. And besides, he also saved 15 grand a month when he had the child support reduced for the daughter that he fathered with the stripper in Arkansas, who his father and mother, Jill and Joe Biden, still have not met. I just heard a podcast the other day with London Roberts, the stripper who Hunter Biden got pregnant. And Hunter Biden has only seen his daughter on Zoom calls, and he has yet to introduce her to his parent, whose father, who is the president, and his mother, Jill, who was in court, by the way. This was another attempt to cudgel the jury into not convicting Hunter Biden. Oh, look at me, I'm the first lady. I was in France at Pointe du Hoc on the D-Day celebration. I flew back to the United States on the taxpayer's dime to sit in court to pressure you not to convict Hunter Biden, who, by the way, in his text messages has clearly demonstrated that he despises me as his stepmother. Then I flew back to France for another ceremony, again on the taxpayer dime, creating the carbon footprint that Democrats cite all the time when they're shutting down the Keystone XL pipeline and raising our gas prices through the roof, and none of it did them any good. We'll have to all get together later and work up the appropriate amount of sympathy for Hunter Biden and for his family. Oh, wait, there, I just did. So that's all. We don't have to do that. We can cross that off the list. Now, we are having a situation here in the, I'm trying to think, this would be the west side of town, Trayview and McKinley, kind of Grandview-ish, not far from Dublin Road as it goes down toward 3rd Avenue, 5th Avenue. There used to be a big quarry out there. They built a ton of apartments on it. And the guy who owns the apartments has angered the people in his own apartment complex and the people in adjoining complexes by exercising his rights of ownership to fly the flag that he prefers to fly on a massive flagpole over this apartment complex. You say, wait a minute, are there residents in the apartment complex who are uber conservative like you, Bruce, and who oppose this guy flying a ginormous pride flag over the apartment complex here in the month of June? No. There used to be an American flag up there, and now there is a huge Trump 2024 Make America Great Again flag flying over the apartment complex. Here is an excerpt from Bob Vitale's story in the Columbus Dispatch. Comment from a woman named Lizzie Jackson, who lives at the Belmont House Apartments. I think it's putting a political affiliation on the entire complex. I don't like that I have to tell visitors, turn left at the giant Trump flag. Belmont House and Hanover House Apartments, which are next door, received an email on Saturday from 601 West, the company overseeing both complexes, that acknowledged that the removal of the American flag and the replacement of the American flag by the Trump flag was, quote, rightfully put up by the owners of the parcel. However, online, concerns have piled up on Reddit and other social media sites about the removal of the American flag. All of a sudden, we have a bunch of patriots down near the railroad at McKinley and Trayview because the American flag is vastly superior in many of their minds to a Trump 2024 Make America Great Again sign. The online concerns have reached the point where Preferred Living's average rating on Google has tumbled. Here is another person. I couldn't help but notice today that the American flag has been replaced with a Trump flag. I find this offensive and insulting to our country and all the residents that live here. It should be taken down, and the American flag that is a symbol for our country, regardless of your political party, should be raised up instead. So disrespectful. Would there be an outcry if the pride flag were raised? No, there would not. There would not be an outcry. You know why I know this? Because all across the country we are seeing, we got it right here in town at Whitehall now, they're complaining about the fact that workers from the city of Whitehall who were painting crosswalks in rainbow colors were harassed by people who live in Whitehall. In addition, Dean Narcisso's story says in the Dispatch, motorists spun their wheels on the colorful designs defacing the work. The city of Whitehall says, to protect the health and welfare of our city staff, we have opted to honor Pride Month with alternate methods. They will put pride flags on street poles along with banners that will proclaim Pride Month. Will anybody shout and protest like they are the Trump flag? We will stand by and watch this interesting cultural experiment.
This is an SRN News special report. I'm Jeremy House. Jurors in Hunter Biden's federal
but that trial is really bad for. It would be probably prejudicial and very difficult to interrupt that so he could be sentenced. So I imagine in theft. Yeah, it sure is, and you really can't.
For the sentencing, what are your thoughts on what has to happen next if they're going to appeal? They've got the tax trial, the tax fraud trial coming up. That's a lot to squeeze in right before his dad's presidential election.
Yeah, it sure is, and you really can't disaggregate the politics from the legal, either on the Republican side or the Democratic side, apparently. The tax case is supposed to happen on September 5th. I imagine there'll be frantic efforts to try to get that put off until after the election. So far, those efforts to delay things have been unsuccessful. The only thing I think that might do, Harris, it might hasten Judge Noriega in trying to impose the sentence before that case happens, because once the trial starts, it would be probably prejudicial and very difficult to interrupt that so he could be sentenced. So I imagine he'll either be sentenced before then, which is probable, or they'll put it off until after that trial. But that trial is really bad for the White House. I mean, that's in which Joe Biden is implicated because these are the taxes that Hunter evaded while he was peddling his father's political influence. So that's
Could
really
he
going to be very tough in the weeks.
The president of the United States?
He could be called to testify. It seems to me that that's highly unlikely. The government won't call him. In fact, I think the special counsel so-called here, his main job seems to have been to, insulate Joe Biden from Hunter's wrongdoing, to the point that even though I think Joe Biden's a central figure in the ginning up of the revenue that case is about, the prosecutors have kept his name out of the indictment. And obviously the defense is not going to call President Biden as a witness. But I do think that the parading of this.
And she would do renderings, and with her renderings, she would send it via email. And then, of course, we'd meet in person and always say the fun stuff.
But that trial is really bad. But that trial is really.
Always came up with a good idea, or if we picked something out first, you'd say, "Yeah, I think that."
Got Andy McCarthy ready to go.
So,
sorry about that. Editing a little audio tape.
Easy to work with Sarah for that reason, because she gave her honest opinion if she liked it or not. So that was good, and we agreed. We liked it.
Let Miller Cabinets in Plain City help capture your vision for your home. Get inspired today at MillerCabinets.com. That's MillerCabinets.com.
It's getting harder and harder to make sense out of today's headlines. To stay on top of breaking world and national news with a Christian worldview and a faith-based perspective on what it means, turn to ChristianHeadlines.com. Log on to ChristianHeadlines.com for the very latest news, and then sign up for our free daily newsletter to stay one step ahead of what's happening. Get out of the mainstream media rut with top news and positive headlines every day with ChristianHeadlines.com.
Dennis Prager here. I invite you to join me on a Bible cruise this November. Share fresh insights during these discussions, all while soaking up the sunshine and beauty of a tropical Caribbean paradise. Visit PragerBibleCruise.com.
PatriotSwitch.com. How many things do you need to see happen in headlines before you realize, man, the deck is stacked against us? Us. Who's us, Bruce? Us are the people who believe in the divine founding of our country. Equal protection under the law, the fact that justice is blind, all those antiquated things that the people in power right now don't believe in. I saw Merrick Garland write an editorial that these unfounded attacks against the Department of Justice must stop. Well, if they were unfounded, I'd agree with you, but they're not. So here's what I agree on, and I hope you agree with me on. I'm talking to my listeners now, and that is that we need alternative ways to find products that we're already buying and need. Everybody needs mouthwash, toothpaste, cleaning solutions for the home, laundry detergent, etc. But stop buying them from woke corporations that donate to these causes that we hate, like Planned Parenthood and defund the police and all that. PatriotSwitch.com is the answer. They make everything they sell, ship it right to your door. I've been a member for 3 years and love it. You'll love it too. Let me tell you about it. Go to PatriotSwitch.com/Bruce, PatriotSwitch.com/Bruce. Hunter Biden guilty on all counts, 3 of them. Can't be a derelict drug addict, crack smoking idiot and lie on a federal gun form. Interesting, he tried to use the Second Amendment as the reason why he should have been able to buy a gun and lie about being a drug addict while buying it. But the jury didn't go for it. So I underestimated the Democrats. I thought they'd find a way to get Hunter Biden off on this. However, I don't want to underestimate their ability in getting him off for the tax fraud charges that he faces coming up in September, where he is charged with not paying $1.4 million in taxes. Wow, you got to really make a lot of money to be taxed $1.4 million, because Joe Biden's saying all the time, rich people don't pay their fair share. So, I mean, if he's charged with not paying $1.4 million, how rich is Hunter Biden? And how did he get that rich? Because my perception of being rich is that it requires a lot of your time, a lot of your sober time, a lot of your attention to detail. And that would be hard, I would think, having never been a crack addict. I don't really know, but I would think it would be hard to have that attention to detail if you are, as Hunter Biden said in his own autobiography, smoking crack every 20 minutes. So I look forward to this September trial to solve all these mysteries that I don't understand about how you can make so much money to owe $1.4 million in taxes that you did not pay. And by the way, where did that money come from? Where did that money come from that you owe the tax money on? Andy McCarthy, legal analyst for Fox News, is almost as intrigued as me by what is upcoming in Hunter Biden's tax fraud trial now that he's been found guilty on federal gun charges.
But that trial is really bad for the White House. I mean, that's in which Joe Biden is implicated because these are the taxes that Hunter evaded while he was peddling his father's political influence. So that's
Could
really
he be
going to be
called
very
to
tough in the
testify?
weeks.
The president of the United States?
He could be called to testify. It seems to me that that's highly unlikely. The government won't call him. In fact, I think the special counsel so-called here, his main job seems to have been to, insulate Joe Biden from Hunter's wrongdoing
You
to
think?
the point that even though I think Joe Biden's a central figure in the ginning up of the revenue that case is about, the prosecutors have kept his name out of the indictment. And
Yeah, they have kept his name out of the indictment. And can you imagine Joe Biden on a stand? I mean, he's a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. But I'm proud of my son. He's the smartest guy he's ever known, Joe Biden. Well, given some of his policies, I don't dispute that statement from Joe Biden. So Hunter guilty on all 3 counts. And Joe is worried about Hunter's safety. I'd be worried about my son's safety, but I'd have gotten my arms around that situation if I had a son long before he became a derelict smoking crack. And I wouldn't have enabled my son by putting him on Air Force 2 to fly him to China so he could do business. What business, Joe? I don't know. I had no idea what Hunter was doing while I was walking on the Great Wall of China, 17,000 miles with Xi Jinping. Just pull a loose thread on the Biden family and the whole corrupt enterprise unravels. And Jamie Raskin and Chuck Schumer like, where? Yeah, right. Now, I would be remiss if I did not share with you the latest missive from the angry Bobcat herself, Amelia Robinson, editorial page editor of the Columbus Dispatch. And I will say, Amelia Robinson does something that I could not do. And that is every single time she puts fingertips to the keyboard, she raises the bar on stupid. I didn't think it could get any more unhinged than when she complained about Kroger having armed guards at select stores in Columbus to prevent shoplifting. And she postulated that people forced to have their receipts checked when they leave Kroger will lead to the demise of Kroger, that people will shop elsewhere because people don't like being made to feel like a shoplifter. That was her theory. I submitted into evidence the fact that they check you. Here, I'm going to do a little bit of a LeBron James impression. They check you not once, not twice, but 3 times at Costco to make sure you are a member and have not stolen anything before you leave the store. And if you've ever tried to get into a Costco on any time of day that is not in the middle of the day, like go at night or on the weekend, you will find that you are not the first person to have that idea. Say Costco's are overrun with customers, where they again check your receipt or your membership card 3 times. But Amelia stuck with that. And now she's back with today's missive entitled, I'd rather be stuck in the woods with a drag queen than most Ohio legislators. Now, I know you're thinking, Bruce, you're very clever. You're making this up. No, I'm not. There it is right there on camera for those of you watching. I'd rather be stuck in the woods with a drag queen than most Ohio legislators. And she's obviously doing a takeoff on the ridiculous feminist-inspired question, would you rather encounter a man in the woods or a bear? And the case was attempted to be made that men are more dangerous than bears. I don't know of any stories where men have killed people with a single swipe of their hand and then eaten them, but I'm sorry, I'm letting the facts get in the way. Amelia, the angry bobcat, maybe that's why she doesn't fear the bear. Maybe because she's an angry bobcat and she thinks she could hold up. She says, I'd much rather encounter a drag queen in the woods than a man or a bear. I'd be more comfortable if the many women and children I'm fortunate enough to love encountered a random drag queen than a random man or random bear. So this, we know, proves that Amelia doesn't really care much about the safety of the children that she loves, because she says random drag queen. She doesn't just say this specific drag queen who I know personally and he's safe and he's not like somebody who bears his butt in stupid, garish, idiotic idiotic costumes and doesn't thrust his pelvis into the face of kids. No, she's not saying that she knows a drag queen and this particular drag queen would be safe. That would be dishonest, but she's not just dishonest. She's stupid. And so she says a random drag queen would be safer in the woods with a child than an Ohio legislator. Do we have any Ohio legislators who have been brought up on charges of child pornography or endangering children, sexually molesting children? I mean, I'm not going to outlaw the possibility that that might have happened. I'm just saying, do we have any? Because if Amelia had access to a little thing we call Google, she could find myriad examples of drag queens who have molested children. But never let the facts get in the way. She supports her theory with this. 750,000 black bears kill fewer than one person a year on average, according to the North American Bear Center in Minnesota. It says men 18 to 24 years old are 167 times more likely to kill someone than a black bear. A couple of questions. When you see a black bear, what would you do? I bet I know your answer. You'd run, right? Could that account for the reason why 750,000 black bears kill fewer than one person a year on average? Because how many of the people who see a black bear say, hey, there's a black bear, let's go over and sit down and watch him thrust his butt in our face. Watch him cavort up and down and, gyrate in front of me. I don't think that happens very often. Maybe Amelia would do it. I don't know what she considers fun, but I would not. I would run the other way. And then the other fact she submits, men 18 to 24 years old are 167 times more likely to kill someone than a black bear. Shall we break that down, Amelia? How many of them are young black men who you do not favor putting in jail for crimes that they commit? Could also be that that number's high because men can handle a weapon and a bear doesn't have the dexterity to do so.
Today at 76, mainly clear skies for tonight, low 55. Sunshine, very comfortable day tomorrow.
How do you continually raise the bar on stupid? I know. You become a leftist. You become a Democrat. You become the editor of the Dispatch editorial page. What a moron!
I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
This is a consumer alert to all U.S. taxpayers who owe the IRS back taxes or have unfiled tax returns. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, you can now take advantage of active programs that provide relief to struggling taxpayers and may reduce or eliminate what you owe if you qualify. Even if you are facing liens, levies, audits, wage garnishment, or already in a payment plan, call the Easy Tax Relief Helpline now to check what savings you may qualify for at 800-535-7128. You may qualify to reduce up to 99% of what you owe or for other special programs. Once qualified and enrolled, you can rest assured that your assets are protected and all collection efforts will be stopped. Billions of dollars in savings are available through these relief programs for struggling taxpayers, but you must call to see if you qualify. To see what savings you qualify for, call 800-535-7128. 800-535-7128. That's 800-535-7128.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-353-2973 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-353-2973. That's 800-353-2973. What do you have to lose? Call 800-353-2973. Again, 800-353-2973.
The Mid-Ohio Food Collective provides nutritious, healthy food to more than 500,000 of our hungry neighbors in central and eastern Ohio. They stock pantries and markets with fresh produce and non-perishable food. The food goes to soup kitchens and emergency shelters. They feed preschool children and students on summer break. They supply food to seniors without transportation. It's enough food for 193,000 meals every single day. Food is health. Fresh food can lead to thriving lives. You can help through the Mid-Ohio Food Collective. Visit MOFC.org and learn how you, your family, your church, and your workplace can make a difference. That's MOFC.org for the Mid-Ohio Food Collective. Let's make sure our neighbors get the meals they deserve. Support the Mid-Ohio Food Collective. That's MOFC.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire.
Yeah,
Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov because fire is everyone's fight.
I love a good steak. I presume you do as well. Let me tell you about the best steak I've ever eaten. Now, first, a confession. I'm not a steak guy. I don't like chewy meat. I remember the first time I went to a great rib restaurant in Cincinnati. You probably heard of it. And I ordered salmon, and they all made fun of me. And I'm like, I don't like chewy meat. I go to a steakhouse. I've been known to order fish in a steakhouse. But you know what? When steak is really, really good, when it has no hormones, no antibiotics, when it's USDA Choice and Prime, the 2 highest grades, I love steak. And I know I love it because that's the only kind of steak that they sell at riverbendranchsteaks.com/Bruce Hooley, because it's their ranch, their Black Angus beef, bred for exacting marbling standards. USDA Choice and Prime, I said, the only 2 highest standards the USDA has. Probably can't find it at any local grocery store. And if you can, you'll pay more than you do at Riverbend Ranch. Riverbend Ranch allows you to set up your own bundle every month or every other month, shipped right to your door. Dry aged, flash frozen. It's awesome. Check it out. riverbendranchsteaks.com/Bruce Hooley. So the premise in Amelia Robinson, the editorial page director of the Columbus Dispatch's latest Raise the Bar on Stupid offering, is that she would rather be stuck in the woods with a drag queen than most Ohio legislators. That is the headline on the story. I broke down the first portion of it. We left off where Amelia was saying that men are more likely to kill people than a bear. She cited statistics, and I said, could it be that when people see a bear, they run, thus making it harder for the bear to kill them? And when people see a man, they don't necessarily run. The guy may have a gun hidden in his waist. He may not appear to be dangerous. He may, in fact, turn out to be dangerous. That is not covered in her column. But what I want to cover next is there is, according to her, and I'm quoting directly, listen carefully to this, no legitimate evidence that drag queens, or for that matter, trans women and men, are threats to women or children. Drag queens, I'm continuing to read, and kings are not grooming children despite the LGBTQ plus hate spewed in the Ohio State House targeting pride celebrations and drag story time. So since our poor angry bobcat friend Amelia Robinson does not have access to Google, I thought I would pop it into the search bar, drag queen charged with child sexual molestation. Pretty generic, right? I didn't say in Columbus, Ohio. I didn't say in Franklin County. I didn't say in the state of Ohio. I just said drag queen charged with child sexual molestation. Now, I can be general in my search because she says no legitimate evidence that drag queens are threats to women or children. She's generalizing it everywhere. I can generalize it everywhere. Now, the second story that pops up after a compilation under the banner of authority figures are frequently sexual predators. Well, let me just call that one up and see what else it says. My internet is slow. It's not going to load. We got some kind of error message. I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway, second one. Actor and drag star Shangela accused of multiple sexual assaults. This is a person who was at the White House in March. Kamala Harris smiled upon this person's appearance at the White House. Then we go to the next story. Philly LGBTQ activist accused of raping 2 children. Third story. Houston drag queen storytime reader charged with child sexual molestation. Drag queen. It goes on and on and on and on. This is not hard. This, Amelia, stick with me. Calm down, angry bobcat. This is called, are you ready? Write this down. Reporting. Also called researching. Also called not coming to the table with a foregone conclusion that you try to support with your erroneous and stupid theories. She says, I'd rather run into a random drag queen in the woods than a random Ohio legislator any day. Well, I'm thinking through the roster of Democrats, and I think I would rather run into Allison Russo or Nikki D'Antonio or any of the other morons on the Democratic side of the aisle than a drag queen in the woods any day. I would. I'd pick the legislator. Amelia, you have fun with the drag queens. I'm going to pick the legislator. Wow. Okay. Almost as crazy is the apparent hard-headed perseverance of Democrats to put Joe Biden on the ballot in the fall. If you saw Biden at the White House last night, speaking in advance of the Juneteenth celebration that I think is like a week away, Biden is sitting there at the White House, and I have a question. He's sitting at the White House. Before he gets up to speak, he's drinking from what looks to be a small bottle of Gatorade. I've seen these bottles in Kroger because, of course, I don't fear being in Kroger because I don't mind him checking my receipt to see if I'm a shoplifter because I'm not a shoplifter. And I don't have to run into Amelia Robinson in the Kroger because she's afraid, of the guards. I'm not afraid. But I've seen these bottles of Gatorade in the store. Except the bottle Joe Biden is drinking from has the label removed. Do you find that odd? I find that very odd. It's like an orangey red drink that Joe Biden is drinking before he gets up to speak. What is in the drink? If it's Gatorade, why wouldn't you leave the label on? Is the fear that Joe Biden endorsing Gatorade will give Gatorade some kind of strategic marketing advantage? The Trump voters will never buy Gatorade again if Joe Biden drinks it? I don't know, maybe. If you watch the video, find it. It's on my social media, at @bhools on Twitter. Be careful. There's a fake Twitter account out there with 2 Z's. Make sure it's BHOOLZ, 1 Z. The video is striking. Biden is essentially frozen for a minute while everybody around him is dancing and gyrating like Elaine on Seinfeld, I might add. Man, Kamala Harris can't dance. She can't speak, but add to the list, she can't dance either. The second gentleman can't dance. Oh, by the way, when you watch the video, take note of who's standing next to the second gentleman. On the second gentleman's right, it'll be on the left side of your screen if you see the video. It looks like, and I'm sure it's not, but it looks like Don Cheadle, the actor Don Cheadle, who was in like Oceans 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It looks like Don Cheadle in drag. There's a mysteriously gendered person next to the second gentleman in a sparkly, spangly dress split up to the high thigh, much higher than I'm comfortable watching, and a low plunging neckline with a beard. With a beard next to the second gentleman. So that's creepy and stupid. But Biden stands there like frozen. He can't move. So Karl Rove comes on Fox and they're like, hey, Karl, have you seen the video? Like, what do you see when you look at that video?
Painful, really painful to watch. He also mangled his teleprompter remarks. He's old. He's really old. And nothing between now and the 146 days from now when we finish voting is going to change, I suspect.
No, it is not going to change. And they're putting him out there supposedly, 17 days from now to debate Donald Trump? Trump, you got to let him talk, man. You got to let him talk. Nate Silver's site, polling site, 538.com, reports today Biden's approval rating has reached a new low. Hey, Bruce, didn't you report that last week? I did. It's lower now. 37.6% approval. Man, the Biden family must be a lot bigger than I thought. 37.6% approval. Well, you got idiots like Mitch Landrieu and James Carville and other moronic Cajuns in that group, I suppose. 56.6% disapprove. He's underwater by 19.2%. They're going to really need some magic potion in that little plastic bottle he's drinking from.
It's no small task. If you don't know where to start, join Rodney Peters of Peters Wealth Group every Saturday at 10 and 2 for Retire Ready Ohio. Rodney shares helpful tips and strategies that just might change the course of your retirement. Listen every Saturday at 10 and 2 to Retire Ready Ohio with Rodney Peters of Peters Wealth Group. The firm offers insurance services. Investment advisory services are offered through Peters Wealth Group, a state-registered investment advisor.
What motivated me to join AmeriCorps Vista was really just being able to give back to the community which I represent.
People all over the country join AmeriCorps Vista to help communities overcome poverty.
It allows me to explore a lot of different things, and I don't think that I'd be able to do that with a regular job.
Learn how you can build your community and your career at AmeriCorps.gov/Vista.
Find us at 989theanswer.com. Download our apps. Stream us 24/7. WTOH and WTOH HD1, Upper Arlington, Columbus.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. In Wilmington, Delaware, the verdict is in. The president's son, Hunter Biden, has been convicted. of all 3 felony charges related to the purchase of a revolver in 2018 when prosecutors argued he lied on a mandatory gun purchase form by saying he was not illegally using or addicted to drugs. Jurors found Hunter Biden guilty of lying to a federally licensed gun dealer, making a false claim on the application by saying he was not a drug user and illegally having the gun for 11 days. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the UN Security Council's vote in favor of a U.S.-backed...
You guys have a great day. I appreciate you watching. Fun to be with you.
As clear as it possibly could be.
Pray for that poor family in North Olmsted, man. I can't imagine the heartache they're going through. I can't imagine how difficult a battle this will be, not to hate the person who did this to their son and to their family. But bitterness is a poison you drink that kills you. So I just, man, what grace they're going to need. And
also at townhall.com, even consumer news, gas prices.
3-year-old boy, man, I can't even fathom it. So keep the Wood family in your prayers. See you tomorrow.